Welcome to another episode of the Saddle Up Show with Shaad and Destin. 1 week closer to draft time. We officially have 8 days and a couple of hours. Well, maybe an hour or two till the Indianapolis Colts are on the clock and we find out who will be our quarterback of the future. Like we always start off every show. Destin, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We're close. We're so close. It feels like this offseason's taking forever. I feel like every offseason takes forever somehow, some way. But
Hmm.
this one's a little different, it feels like. We've just been having to crawl our way here to the end. We're taking a quarterback, guys. We're taking a quarterback. Let's just find out who it is. Like, I don't know if you've heard through the grapevine, guys, but we are taking a quarterback.
It seems like real briefly, we went through a period of time where people were saying, yes, get Anderson and trade back for Hooker. I'm glad we're out of that phase. If you know about anything about the Colts community on Twitter, they go through little phases, and they have a period of time where we was all set on Stroud, and that's what it was. Then we went through Levis versus Richardson. Then we went through
Did we have, we have
Anderson.
have we been through that yet? I feel like that's still going.
Yeah, I think that's where we went. That's where it went, and then it went to Will Anderson and Hooker, and now it's back to Levis and Richard Levinson. That's
Let's
hilarious.
let let's never go back to Hendon. Let's just never.
That was awful. That was awful. I never was gonna tell you how awful it was, but we talked about how awful it was at length behind the scenes. So today we're gonna do a 7 round Colts mock. Destin's kind enough to be able to put the draft on the screen, so you guys will be able to watch it with us and see how it unfolds. So you would know there was no pre-production. Me and Destin literally was able to show up 5 or 10 minutes because we didn't have to talk to each other about what we were going to do for the show. We
Yeah,
just
I'm ready.
showed up.
I'm ready to argue with Rashad naturally on camera for you
Yes.
guys, for my guys to be the pick. As always, we're gonna take your guys's considerations into that as well, and I'll show you guys the board. Today, we're gonna be using the PFF mock draft simulator. So just got to give them a shout out. I think it's the best one running right now. From years past, I think there's been other ones that have been up there, but I think what PFF did this offseason upped their game a lot. So when I've had to go through mock drafts this offseason, that's the one I use. So that's what we're going to be using today.
Yeah, that's the one I actually used for my 7 round mock article that just came out a couple days ago. And without further ado, Destin, let's get into it.
Oh snap! Rolling out the big bucks to pay for that ish. Hey, I mean, I already had PFF for this, So before it was a premium feature, I had it. So now, I mean, got to use it, right?
Nope, you don't. But it is good to have PFF. I
But
definitely have it.
we I tried multiple times to get the board to fall a little differently, so we could have a conversation about a certain outcome that seems probable now. Where I didn't think we
Mhm.
thought that early on, to the point where what if there are three quarterbacks on the board at four of the top four?
Do you
So
want to talk through that scenario first before
yeah,
we get to what's actually on the board?
yeah. So we'll do that second. But first, I do want to talk about this, like what you're saying. I want to talk about what happens if Stroud, Richardson, and Levis are all there at four, which would be awesome for me. I mean, I don't even care. Like, if they took Levis, even though I'm a guy who thinks Stroud and Richardson are above him as prospects, the fact that we would have that like definite thought in our heads that that's the guy the Colts wanted.
Yeah, and you should actually feel a bit better about it because a lot of the talk was that the Colts were going to get the third best or the fourth best guy. People were under
Quarterbacks are
the
going 1, 2, 3, 4. Rashad, I don't know what you're
oh,
talking about.
oh man, that's all we heard. And it literally started when we was at the Senior Bowl. People was telling us this, and we hear from different teams. We have people from different teams call us and talk about who they like. And that was kind of what I was talking about on Twitter when I was saying I was burnt out because you get so many text messages and phone calls from certain teams, and you hear certain things. When all those guys have agendas that they want to push and trying to use you to push it out there, I ain't tweet half the things I saw because I just had no idea to confirm whether it was real or not, and just didn't want to go on that roller coaster ride.
You
Well,
got to
this
put
was
your
one of
phone
the
on mute in
things.
April, Rashad. You got to put the
That,
phone on mute.
You're absolutely right, because this was one of the things they was telling us. Quarterbacks are gonna go 1, 2, 3. Coach better move up. They have to move up. If they don't move up, they'll get the fourth best guy. But in this scenario, I think Stroud would be the guy. CJ Stroud is a quarterback we've talked about ad nauseum. You know, pretty much throughout the college football season when it looked like it was a real possibility. And once it got kind of, Carolina moved up, he's I don't want to say he fell out of favor. He just seemed a bit unrealistic, at that point. So people stopped really talking about him, and he wasn't getting as much pub. He wasn't getting as much attention from the Colts community. But now that it looks like he may be back in place, CJ Stroud is the most complete quarterback aside from Bryce Young. That will be remaining on the board. What he can do with his accuracy, how the Indianapolis Colts want to run their team, a precision passing game, how he can weaponize his accuracy. Smart guy, he can read a defense. He processes really well, uh, minus the S2 test. He processes really well from what we saw. His ability to push the ball vertically is something that we know the Colts want to do. And like I said, the accuracy, man, the ball placement is special with this guy. I think he has upside as long as he, continues to develop in the way he feels pressure. What we saw in the Georgia game was just special. And if he was that guy moving forward, I think he'd be QB1 in this class, no debate.
I mean, CJ Stroud's tape versus Georgia. I mean, I've been doing my own personal scouting since 2017. So in the years of scouting quarterbacks, I don't know if there's a better single game tape than anyone I've
Mm-hmm.
ever watched in that span of draft prospects. There's been better draft prospects as a whole, but that
Mm-hmm.
game itself, like that's teach tape type stuff. Like it was just like on
Yeah,
another
can you point
level.
to a Trevor Lawrence game off the top of your head that he was better than that?
I mean, there were games that Lawrence had that like makes it comparable.
Mm-hmm.
Like his national championship game was a game where you watch Lawrence put on just like you watch Lawrence do that. His I believe it was is that his freshman sophomore year. So you watch him do that and you're like, man, this guy's gonna win 2, 3 national championships. This kid's gonna win. This kid's gonna win multiple Heisman's. So like that occurs, but like I don't know if any of those match the level that I watched CJ Stroud against Georgia, where like
Yeah.
you watch they end up losing that game, but like he was great from the opening kickoff to the last whistle. Like that was that important of a game. Now this has changed for me back and forth between what happens if all three are on the board. Where I stand right now, I'm not saying this is what I would do, but I actually think the Colts would take Anthony Richardson.
Hmm.
Like I think the Colts would take Anthony Richardson. I think that's the guy in this class that they've honed in on. I think Stroud and Richardson, and that's nowhere near 100% lock that I would say it is gonna happen by any means. But from my knowledge, from what I've been told from people behind the scenes and what I've put together, like I think the offense that wants to be ran here and the amount of due diligence and work they put into Richardson before this season, um, I think that's the guy they've honed in on. And we'll see how it comes down because I still think Stroud and Richardson are really close. I had heard early February that those were the two that they had a kind of above the rest in a sense, but I didn't get told who was the number one, who was the number two. But yeah, if all three were on the board, I do think they could still go Richardson, and I think some people would go crazy. And I think I'm one person that's going to always come back to that a little bit because like I have Stroud as the quarterback one in this class personally. I think the mobility issues are kind of fabricated in a sense. He more than extends plays. I see Joe Burrow when I watch CJ Stroud on tape. And that level of quarterback being brought in, like I would love that. But I truly think Anthony Richardson's skill set and what they've been able to do with Jalen Hurts and his accuracy issues being a 50 some percent accuracy the year prior. You move in the next year, Steichen takes over. And one of the things that happens is Jalen Hurts' accuracy gets improved. So the fact that we have a tangible thing to look at and point at, like that is crazy to me because you're not going to see that very often. So you have this tangible proof that this guy has worked with someone with accuracy issues, and improved them. And I don't even think Anthony Richardson has accuracy issues. I think he has mechanical issues, and I think he had a talent issue on the roster that hurt his accuracy too. But that is my 2 cents on it. I think if they were both there, they could still go Richardson.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. I want to get to Patrick's. I'm sorry.
Or we're both just hitting it right
Yeah,
now. I'll let you
we're
go.
both doing. Go ahead. You take it over. Patrick Rise says, so per usual, you think all the odds on favorite to pick Levis stuff is just smoke. That's what I was thinking.
It's hard to use Vegas lines now, like this time of year, because every headline that comes out, everything that anyone says in the national media is going to flip headlines, flip those
He's
betting
gonna flip the
odds.
odds. Yeah.
So like that one's a hard one. Like it's always hard to like watch it too close. I mean, the day of the draft can be helpful because enough things have gone through where that those things can be a little more accurate at the top of the draft. But right now, as things have gone back and forth so much, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, at one point we were the favorite to have Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, man. So you never could tell about Vegas, especially with draft stuff. It is really unpredictable. More than likely, the last line that they have immediately right before the draft will probably be the most accurate they'll be because it's a lot of flip flopping, like Destin said, leading up to this. So where do you want to go? You want to go? You want to go Richardson? We can go Richardson.
Jalen Carter, Devin Witherspoon. Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
We go Will Levis.
We could go Will Levis. I honestly think there is a world where they could take him, and everyone could be wrong. I mean, I think they like him more than people give them credit for in our fan base. I just stick with what
But
I've
we've
heard since
said that
February.
consistently though. Like they
Yeah,
like him. It's not bullshit. I mean, when we
yeah,
say it, yeah, it's they really like him. So I wouldn't be shocked. I just think I think that Richardson's the favorite of the two. But if they took Levis, it wouldn't completely blow me away or anything like that.
yeah.
And I'd be
But
fine. I mean, I'd be happy.
and the draft will get a little bit more fun here as we can move on down the road here, and we'll draft Anthony Richardson out of Florida, not AR-15 because he spoke out against those nicknames.
Yeah.
But ooh, I love that fast forward there. But just before we look, we're just going to see on how some of the first round ended up.
Hmm.
Tyree Wilson following to Tennessee. Christian Gonzalez going to Houston. I don't like either of those.
I love Deontay Banks, man.
Deontay
Jesus.
Banks going 13 is high.
He
Will
my
Levis to New
he
England.
he's my CB too, by the way.
Deontay Banks is your CB2.
Over Witherspoon. Yeah, I
Whoa.
have Witherspoon and CB3. Miami
Michael
fourth.
Mayer.
Just say forfeited for Miami.
I love that it's always there. I do love that it's always there. Back to back
Brian
Clemson.
Brissy, who had a top 30 with the Colts.
I'm gonna say this right now. Broderick Jones at 26. Broderick Jones is going much higher than 26.
Oh yeah, hell
If
yeah.
they, I don't know what the Vegas lines are, but if his line is not saying he's going in the top 10, that's a good money. That's all I'm saying.
Emmanuel
Um,
Forbes is I like him just because we're about the same size. So I support him. I support him.
Darnell Wright, I believe Cincinnati was the content creator that Darnell Wright and him got into it on socials.
That's
So that would
exactly
be hilarious.
how fitting, right?
Dewan Jones, indie product, going to New Orleans.
Is Drew Sanders the first off-ball linebacker took?
I think he should be, but I am not a Campbell guy.
I was about to say you're probably in the
I
minority
think
on
I
that.
think I think Campbell tested really great, but you don't see it on film, and that always worries me when we have these like the combine warrior stuff that people keep throwing at like Anthony Richardson and stuff. Like
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me. Like Anthony Richardson on tape is a freak. So like why are we calling him a combine warrior? Like
yeah.
Joe Campbell on tape looks a little stiff. When he tries to make the change of direction, he really struggles at times. So I'm scared that people are going to look at his tape, see some of these concerns, and then see what he did at the combine and say, "Oh, they must not be concerns." Well, they were a concern when he was actually playing football for a reason.
He's more of a throwback linebacker to me, linebacker of last decade. But I like his game though. I think there's definitely some room for improvement, especially if he's trying to modernize his game.
Drew Sanders is upside as a
Hmm.
coverage linebacker at his size is incredible. like 6'5" frame, long, really nice athleticism. Not an elite athlete, but a nice athleticism. Moves really solid laterally. Like I love the fit in my recent mock draft. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to find that over at Sports Illustrated. Colts for Horseshoe Huddle. I had him going to Buffalo to replace Tremaine Edmonds. Like I love Sanders' fit in Buffalo personally. I will say I saw some notable names not get taken here that could make us want to stay at 35. So I want to mention those.
I'm gonna tell y'all, Destin's drooling for a couple of guys.
I mean, I mean, Keely Ringo at 35 is a wet dream.
Is
It
he
is.
even the best cornerback available?
I mean, it depends on who you look at. I mean, I have Keely Ringo at quarterback as CB3 in this class. Cam Smith is a guy who I have as cornerback 5. So I like his game a lot as well out of South Carolina. I know Julius Brents is the fan favorite right now, Indy kid. I personally don't think I would take Julius Brents at 35.
I wouldn't. I
But a
wouldn't.
trade back candidate, that's a guy to watch
Mm,
for sure. But I mean, Keely Ringo,
what wide receivers are available?
that's also a good point because I think we both have one that we would both like to take at 35 if he was there.
Yes. So I definitely need to see. He's gone.
Zay
He's,
Flowers is the guy that we were both
where
considering.
did he go? I didn't even see him get. Oh, there you go.
Addison goes to the Giants.
To
Zay Flowers to
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Oh my
So
God.
Jacksonville has Kirk, Ridley, Zay Jones, and Zay Flowers. That's a lot of speed, man.
Zay. They have the Zays, man. All of the Zays. I don't like
So
this. I don't like where this draft is
it's
going for.
gotta be corner right now or trade back.
What about interior offensive lineman? Cody Mock is a real option here. I'm telling you, man.
I've heard
Yeah.
we could always pair Anthony Richardson with Osiris.
Might give him a bit of PTSD, but
I think PFF has Cody Mock a little
as
lower than other people do as well, though.
is he listed as a tackle?
Yeah, so he's listed as a
he's
tackle.
listed as a tackle.
Now Matthew Bergson is he's higher rated on here than I think he will be, but he's a guy that I've heard he was in my round 3 piece that I did for Sports Illustrated for Colts fits.
Mhm.
He's a guy that could convert to guard at the next level as well, and I've heard teams see him as a guard a lot. He's a guy that if he was there in round 3, I think the Colts have a lot of interest as well.
And I think this is the conversation you had to have. Do you feel like you can get a starter quality interior offensive lineman in the 3rd round? Because if you feel like you can't, then you have to pull the trigger in a second. Because you probably can get a starting level cornerback in the 3rd round still with how deep this class is.
It's an unreal class.
Yeah. Will McDonald, that's a luxury pick, though. Look, I know how you feel about Will McDonald.
The Colts really want to play Dio and Quiddy at a higher rate, and then you have Sampson coming over as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll go edge early because Chris Ballard, what I've heard, they really want Quiddy and Dio on the field together more.
Here comes the butt, y'all. Here comes the butt.
No, but I'm being real with you. But Will
I thought you was
McDonald,
gonna say butt.
Will McDonald is
There
that
it is.
dude to me.
He still did it.
Will McDonald is that dude to me. I have him as edge 4 in this class. I think he's a guy who could. I think he's a guy who could sniff into the first round as well. I think he has a lot of bend. A little smaller than some teams will look at as an edge rusher, but I hope he goes to a team that lets him put his hand in the grass and not rush standing. He can do both, but I know he's a little smaller. Let him go somewhere where he can rush with his hand in the turf and just let him move off the end like that. He's going to be a nice pro. But I think we've said a lot of players here that are available. So I think that scenario just sounds like a trade back. Like it just sounds like we got to.
What kind of deals we have on the board?
I will say a team that I've heard to watch to trade up in the second is the Detroit Lions. I've heard they really like a lot of these tight ends in this class, and if any of them fall into that early part of the second, that's a team to watch as a potential trade up. So if we could get like 48 and 81.
Pittsburgh traded up. Well, something else to monitor in this draft. In this particular draft, Pittsburgh traded up to the first pick of the 2nd round to take Dalton Kincaid. So was that the guy that Detroit may have been targeting, or do Detroit feel more pressed now because they feel like a run on tight ends can start at this point with Michael Mayer already being gone off the board and
And
now Dalton Kincaid.
Darnell Washington's sitting there for him though. But 48 and
Ah,
81 for 35. You gain a third rounder. You move back a total of 13 picks, gain a third.
mm,
So you'll have 3 day 2 picks in a very, I can't even express this enough, a very good day 2 draft.
let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, 73% chance of getting it done. So if Dan Campbell rejects this, then we're gonna have problems. Okay, that's what I thought.
There we go.
That's what I thought, Dan. I thought I was going to come for some of your kneecaps, but
Now,
we made it out.
the ideal situation right now is for the Colts to still be able to get an interior lineman and a cornerback.
The dropping by Osiris here is insulting.
I think we're almost gonna be forced to take Osiris. Ringo's gone. Ringo is gone. And look at your
Now I will
face.
be
I love
honest.
it.
In real life, I don't know if you can trade back and get him. Hendon Hooker goes to Washington. Cody Mock goes
I was
to
hoping Cody
New
Mock was still
England.
there.
Steve Avila,
There's
Luke
Jack Campbell.
Musgrave, Keely Ringo goes to Seattle. Will McDonald was who the Lions traded up for. Respect.
Seattle.
Keely Ringo in
So now
Seattle
Seattle
is nice.
has Keely
It's
Ringo.
nice.
Yeah, Tariq Woolen, and he have Kobe Bryant as well. They full of
I,
young corners, man.
I feel
So
like we have to go Osiris.
that's what I said too. Yeah, I think it's.
That's unreal value.
I was about to say, yeah, that's somebody whose name's probably gonna get called in the first
At
round.
probably he. I mean, unless depending on what you're calling Peter Skoronsky, he's the best guard in this class. I mean, Peter
Hmm.
Skoronsky's a tweener, so it's kind of hard to put him as one of the two. But
I think
Osiris,
Skoronski's probably gonna play tackle though. Just depending
I
on
think
where
it
he goes, I
depends. I
guess.
say I think
Yeah,
it depends on where he goes. Like in Indy, I think he could play either. They don't care about the arm length as much as some teams, but
yeah,
there are teams in the NFL that will look at him as a straight guard.
yeah. I think you take Osiris in this situation, and you're happy as hell because you're getting a guy that can come in and play day one
Who
at
has a
guard.
relationship with your new quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
we taking two Florida
we
Gators so far.
we go and chomp up in here.
Okay. So where we going? 79.
I don't know, but Darius Rush just went like 2 picks before this, and I'm gonna cry a little bit.
And I'm sick. I am
Just 2 picks,
absolutely sick.
two
Absolutely sick
picks.
of it. And Clark Phillips, which is a guy that Coach won't be targeting because he's a slot corner, but still, I love his game. He's a
Gosh.
dog.
So the corners went a little faster than the Colts would have liked here. This did not fall their way.
I'm Garrett Williams is somebody that intrigues me a lot. I know the
I like
injury
Garrett.
history.
The problem with Garrett to me is in a class full of bigger corners, like he's in that 5'10" mold. I like Corey Trice out of Purdue more than a lot of people with that size and speed that he has. Would be nice on the outside as well.
Jalen
Jalen
Jones is a good
Jones.
option. I like Jalen Jones a bit.
Jalen Jones is nice as well. We probably should look at receiver here as well. We have the 2 picks are right next to each other, essentially. So just kind of look down here. Not a lot of receivers.
Because you have
Marvin Mims,
Tyler
Rashad,
Scott as well. Jaden Reed.
Shaad.
Destin is a Marvin Stan.
We can look at all these guys if you want, but
I
there's
see Trey
an obvious
Palmer as
answer
well.
here.
I
I
see
love
Trey
me some
Palmer.
Trey Palmer as well.
This is interesting.
I'm not gonna lie to you. These 5 receivers in a row, I like all of their fits with the Colts.
Me
Marvin
too.
Mims, Tyler Scott, Jaden Reed, Trey Palmer, and Parker Washington. I like all of their vertical ability. But Marvin Mims was made to play in Shane Steichen's offense. Just created in a lab to be that vertical threat out of the slot.
I'm thinking we should go wide receiver here because we're gonna take a corner at 81.
Logan, I want you to
81.
know that it hurt me to not take a corner in the second, but Osiris at 48 it just had to happen, Logan. I'm still a full-on cornerback lover, okay? Just because we waited it does not if a proper indication of this. The board just fell how it fell.
I think we go Mims. Okay, let's go Mims.
I think Mims, Scott, and Palmer, I think, are better fits than the other two. Like when you look at size and vertical ability, Um, I think Mims and Scott. I have personally heard that the Colts have interest in both of those guys.
Hmm.
So that's the two that I would probably circle in towards being realistic options that they would go. So my vote would be Mims. If your vote's Scott, we can take it to the chat.
Yeah, I'm a Tyler Scott guy over Marvin Mims. Actually, my player count for Tyler Scott is T.Y. Hilton. I think he has a lot of Hilton to his game.
So we
You
need we
know,
need the chat to blow up real quick. We just need to see Marvin Mims, Tyler Scott. I'm gonna give you guys like 15 seconds. So whatever name we see the most in that 15-second span, we're gonna go with. So feel free to comment it below. We got Tyler Scott, we got Marvin Mims. Hit us up. We got a couple Scotts already. We got
I'm up two
Mims
one. I'm up
three. We
three
got three
one.
one.
Let's get Destin out of here. Let's get Destin out of here.
Oh, 3-2,
Uh
5-2, 5-3,
yes. Five. Oh
six
yeah.
three. I'm gonna go 5 more seconds here. 6-3, 6-4, 2-1. Patrick's over here spamming Tyler Scott. I want to know.
I
He's
appreciate him
cheating a
for it
little bit,
too.
but we're
I
gonna go it.
appreciate
We're
him
gonna
for
go
it.
Tyler Scott, even though
Yes,
we're
sir.
passing up on such a good option in Marvin Mims. But we're gonna go Tyler Scott because that's what the people wanted.
Damn right.
But we're
I'm the man of the people, Destin.
out of
That's the problem.
curiosity. Let's see who goes after Tank Bigsby to Pittsburgh
Running
after we
back.
took that. So that didn't affect us in the slightest.
Cornerback. We must take a cornerback
The
here.
super chat for Tyler Scott Patrick. I love the dedication.
Shout out to
We did
Patrick
it.
Bride, man.
Hey, I agree with some of these people though. Got to go with Marvin for Indy, man. I get it. We should have.
Marvin's in Indy. I like that. I mean, that makes sense. We got to go
So
Garrett Williams here, right?
I like
I
Garrett
mean,
Williams. I think Jalen Scott. I mean Jalen Jones may fit the size threshold that I think they're going to be highlighting and looking for
yeah,
more
6'2", 200 pounds.
over a guy like I like Garrett Williams. I'm just nervous about your outside corners this year being Garrett Williams at 5'10" and Isaiah Rodgers at 5'10".
Yeah, but
That's what I worry about.
I think without this ACL injury that he suffered, in October, November ish, Garrett Williams is a first round cornerback. I think a late first round,
If we're going just
early second
straight
round.
best player, like I feel like Garrett
Hmm.
Williams is probably who I would go over Jalen Jones as well. I just think looking at the value between them, like and how the
Hmm.
Colts are probably going to look at corners, I think Jalen Jones would get the nod over Garrett Williams.
Yeah, he's a better fit for sure. If we're talking better prospect, I think Garrett would easily be a better prospect. But I do have Garrett a lot higher on my board than Jalen Jones. But it's not a coach centric board, Sometimes, and that's a lesson in this. When you make draft boards, it's definitely going to rank differently according to whatever team it is that's setting up the board. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Jalen Jones.
All right, we'll go. We're gonna go Jalen Jones here. So the third round was Tyler Scott and Jalen Jones. Gonna move on here to day 3 of the draft, where we're heading just to see some of the guys that slid in there. Marvin Mims, we just want to pick before 106.
Wow, Marvin Mims fell to 105.
That's wild. That's wild.
That's this is a nasty draft.
Trey Palmer at 96. Zach
Tajay Spears.
Harrison.
No, no.
Garrett Wilson at 86.
Uh,
Tank Dell at
Tank Dell
82. A
went
pick
right
after us.
after Jalen
I
Jones.
have never been more confident that there's a player the Colts won't draft than Tank Dell.
He just.
Someone clip this if it ever happens.
I wish he would. I wish they would though, because he'd be so much fun. Like he's so much fun to
He's
watch.
so fun, so small,
Yeah,
so fun, and so small.
so small.
So after you go interior quarterback, receiver, corner, things start to open up a little bit on day 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think the boy I was going to talk about.
That's cap. I was about to say Ballard always takes linebacker.
So, but what I'm going to tell you is with the fact that Shaquille Leonard being very non-committal today to when that timeline is going to be, which is what he's going to say. The fact that you lose Bobby Okereke this offseason, the only starter that's going to be guaranteed, knock on wood, with training camp and everything coming through, the only day 1 starter that was a starter in the linebacker room last year that's guaranteed to be there is going to be Zaire.
Yep.
So the Will and the Mike are just open. I think
But I
Dorian
think
Williams.
EJ Speed a step into one of those
I think EJ
naturally
Speed
though.
could
Yeah,
definitely do that.
yeah.
Which means, and where I've been on the subject, coverage linebacker is a spot that the Colts need to add somebody with,
Mm-hmm.
because I like EJ Speed's ability to play. I just am, him being the number one coverage guy in the linebacking room would be concerning.
I'm
Dorian
like,
Williams
yeah.
offers a solid coverage skill. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not like he has coverage ability. Coverage is a skill when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to Dorian Williams. There's a few other guys in this class that I really like. Owen, is it Papo? I don't know how to pronounce it. I hope I didn't kill that. Someone let me know. I really like his ability. He'd be a little bit later than round 4. Charlie Thomas is a converted safety. He's a guy later on day 3. And
Mm-hmm.
Aubrey Miller out of Jackson State. All those guys that I just mentioned are got some of my favorite coverage guys that are left right now.
Yeah.
So Dorian Williams is a guy that I think could be a really good fit here, but we're just going to keep looking down the line here, see who else fell a little bit. Colby Wooden has a little bit of ability to play inside and outside on the edge. Yaya Diaby, I saw a few comments about Yaya already. Yaya
Yeah.
Diaby was molded to be an edge rusher for Chris Ballard. I would be
I, f-
shocked.
I feel like it'd be a little early for him though.
Oh, I agree. It'd be a little early. Um, Maybe we can look at see some of who these offensive linemen. Braden Daniels is really athletic day 3 guy that someone could go for. That's a little raw.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch any of these guys though. Right now.
Luke Haggard. I wouldn't draft an IU offensive lineman if you paid me.
Yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
Voorhees.
Okay. Now Voorhees is one to mention as well.
Interesting. It's
I
interesting.
love Osalugan. I love him. I think he's one of my favorite centers in this class. I think someone's going to be able to, like, from everything I'm hearing, he's going to go on day 3, just because people don't look at him as this like popping off the screen center. He can start day 1 at center for somebody at the next level. And if someone's able to draft him just to stash him away behind somebody, like, he's going to be a dang good pro. Like, mark my words, clip this, tell whoever you want. Osalugan is going to be a starting center in the NFL for a long time.
I don't have that conviction on him, but
I do.
I think he's a solid player though. I'm not as high as you are on him. But my favorite so far that we've looked at is probably Dorian Williams, to be
I
honest.
I think Dorian Williams is a really good spot here in the 4th round, and again is a guy who has a coverage ability that's a strength for him, not just a guy who can
Yeah.
cover.
Guy with a really long wingspan, runs 4.49 40. He has the physical profile, to do exactly what they're going to ask him to do in this defense, especially with the linebacker absence that we have. You need to get somebody in that can fill this void. And nobody drafts linebackers better than Chris Ballard, man. That is his thing. He's hit on guys in the mid to late rounds repeatedly. So I think this is no different.
All right, we're gonna go Dorian Williams out of Tulane.
Voorhees, Voorhees, we're
The
coming
only,
back for you.
the fifth round is where I really think if Voorhees is there, the Colts should look at him as a developmental guard. It's depending on how the early rounds go, especially.
Mm,
But like, he's a guy if a team can stash on day 3, he's not going to play this year. But he's a guy who's going to go on day 2 at the latest if
yeah.
he wouldn't have tore his ACL at the combine. So we're going to go Dorian Williams here in the 4th round. But we're entering the Colts money round. They have 3 fifth-rounders this year.
Three
And
of them things.
Voorhees went the first pick of the 5th round. I just want everybody to see that.
Texans
Owen,
forfeited. We used to seeing the Texans forfeit, by the way, but whatever.
just beat us last week of the season.
And McKee, man, he has to go. He has to get out of
Man,
here.
yeah, are we gonna go the Kirk Cousins route? We gonna double up at quarterback?
No, we're absolutely not. But I can see us doubling up at cornerback.
I think
But
there's a couple of positions. Man, hey, Elucigen, how you doing? How you
because Eli Ricks is
doing?
somebody that's intriguing to me at cornerback. Like he's a
The Colts,
Bradley type of cornerback.
the Colts like Starling Thomas a lot.
They do. I don't think they like him right now though.
I'm not saying that he'd be the pick right
Yeah,
here. I'm just
yeah,
saying, like, there is interest there on day 3.
yeah.
I like Parker Washington a lot. To go double slot would be a little excessive,
Yeah, I think that's a bit
but
much.
Parker Washington's not going to be available in the 5th round.
I don't think they would take him though. If
Like, book
they
that.
go with if they go with It just depends on how it falls early in the draft. Tight
I like
ends.
Josh Wiley. I don't
I
think we
like
needed.
Payne
Oh,
Durham
I like
too.
Payne Durham too.
Payne Durham showed some receiving upside that I didn't think he had at the Senior Bowl. He was known for pretty much a blocker.
Ooh, I like Mekhi Gardner.
I seen Makai Gardner. Who was I watching recently? Makai Gardner
Mekhi
was getting
Gardner.
cooked really bad. Who was cooking
Now
him?
he did have times. He did. Mekhi Gardner
Who
did
who
have time.
was that? I was just literally watching this
But
guy.
I will
He
say
was
this: Mekhi Gardner is one of the better, like, consistent corners in the run game in this entire class.
yeah,
Like, he's a
yeah.
guy who, when needed to set the edge as a corner,
Hey,
did it
click
consistently.
click Eli Rick's name again.
Hmm.
Look at that man. That freshman overall grade. He was so fucking good. He was on that LSU team that
That's my
literally.
big That's my now earlier when I said about Gardner's Eli Ricks don't
Yeah,
got that.
yeah, no.
But
Yeah, no.
that I think that's my biggest concern when it comes to Eli Ricks. The fact that I had to watch him regress over his span at Bama, like that is concerning.
And I think it was a system switch too. He went from LSU
Yeah,
to
yeah, he
to
went to LSU
Alabama.
Bama.
That did him no favors. I think in that LSU defense, he's not allowed to kind of be himself. He was a little bit better, and he was on one of the greatest college football teams of all time, arguably the greatest college football team of all time, the 2020 LSU Bayou Bengals,
Bayou Bengals.
and he started.
Looks like Yaya Diaby went off the board already.
Yeah, yeah,
KJ
it's
Henry
gone.
is not going to be here in the 5th round.
No, I would take KJ Henry for sure. He's the best player
Oh,
that's available right
we
now.
may have to. I we're gonna
This is
get a
insane.
we're gonna get an overall, like, we're gonna get an A for this pick because it's so unrealistic. But
Yeah,
KJ Henry might hear his name in the 2nd round.
yeah, yeah. It's certainly a possibility. Third at probably the latest, like the absolute latest. He's a
But
guy that's going to
sometimes
eventually be a starter and be a damn good one. If he hit his upside, because he's an athletic guy.
Jose Ramirez is another fun small school guy. But I think you got to go KJ Henry.
Let's go KJ Henry. We
Let's
spent
just
enough time on this pick.
we have 3/5. So we just had to talk through all Mekhi Gardner went off the board. It's a sad day.
It's sad.
Eli Ricks and Starling Thomas are both still here.
I think we have to double. We're gonna have to take another corner. And since the first corner we went with was a size guy, right?
But yeah, the first guy we went with was a 6'2".
Yeah.
We got
So maybe we
size.
can hit a smaller guy like Starling's not small, but
He'll be smaller than the 6'2", 6'3" freaks that are in this class. But
hmm
6 foot is a fine size to where you can move him in between the boundary and the interior, which would be a win. The versatility element for the Colts. And like I said earlier, the Colts absolutely like Starling Thomas. If they have an ability to get him on day 3, that's a name to just keep circling back to. So I
yeah,
think to keep it, we just took a guy that I can't imagine the Colts are going to be in the position to draft, in KJ Henry. So now we'll make up for it by taking a guy that I think they have a really solid chance at. So Starling
yeah.
Thomas, the 5th out of UAB, book it. Take the
Somebody that
card
gives you
in.
something on special teams too as well. I like that pick a lot. I like Keandre Coburn too up there, man. Mm.
Coburn's fun. We've seen a few comments about Coburn now as well.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yes,
Looks like,
that's Matt. I
yeah,
like Coburn a lot. Especially right now, in the draft. And at this stage in the draft, GMs, coaches, these guys are looking at either, special teams contributors, guys with freakish athletic upside.
Rakeem.
Look at Raheem Jarrett. Destin has a man
Rakeem.
crush on Raheem Jarrett.
Rakeem Jarrett is a run after catch fiend.
Yes.
That boy can take a single and turn it to a home run. Matt
Landers.
Landers,
A
a little
lot of
bit of
people like Matt
size.
Landers, yeah.
I mean, when you're 6'4" and you're running in that 4.4s like you did at the combine,
Bryce Wheaton Ford, I saw him up there. You didn't
he's
highlight him.
he's a nice one as well. I mean, he's faster than he is quick, if that
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense to people. Like he tested
Straight
really
line
well,
fast.
but he has a really tough time actually creating separation.
Mm-hmm.
And in Steichen's offense, like that's going to be a big one. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's any secret that if I was in charge of who the Colts would draft at receiver there, it'd be Raheem Jarrett. But this is
Take
not
a look
just.
at running backs as well. I do want to take a look at running backs. I do think the Colts still need a
I
pass catching
like
back.
I like Keaton Mitchell when you say pass catching.
I like Keaton Mitchell too, and that's actually who I was targeting when I said take a look at running backs. I like Keaton Mitchell a lot, and I think he can come in and instantly contribute in that change of pace. Receiving back out of the
Kenny
backfield role.
McIntosh.
That's crazy.
This what is PFF on right now?
I don't know.
What is PFF on
I
right
don't
now?
know.
If we're talking about boys
Yeah.
that can make the home run, Kenny McIntosh, Evan Hull. That's a guy
Chris
that
Chris Rodriguez, good back. Yeah, man.
I like Keaton Mitchell, so I'd be okay going Keaton Mitchell. I'd be okay going Raheem Jarrett. I would be okay going Coburn as well.
I think this. Ballard's he can't resist that urge, man, to tap into the trenches.
It's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, and I know we got KJ Henry earlier, but he's a trench guy, but he's not really like a trench guy
No,
like
Coburn
Coburn.
Coburn can go into the interior for you.
Hmm.
He's gonna spend time. I mean, as you can see here,
Right.
the A gap B gap. Gotta love
Yeah.
PFF for doing some of the work for you at times. But
Hmm.
like he's a guy who can move a little bit on the line for you.
Yeah.
The rotation behind Buckner and Grover is a little open, like where guys can kind of figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
I'm okay going Coburn.
Okay, let's go Coburn then, and then we'll tap
If
into
Raheem Jarrett's there in the sixth, first of all, I'm going to be insulted.
Keaton Mitchell. Just went to damn it.
I think Raheem Jarrett went as well. So if it makes you feel better, we're both going to be heartbroken today. Yeah,
The pain. Okay. I'm
our boy.
saving. I'm saving that pick. I'm saving that pick. That's definitely going to be a homer pick for me before we get up out of here. Let's look at running backs. Let's see what running backs they have. See if we can find our scat back.
Oh, we got to go fullback?
No, we're absolutely not.
Oh.
We're absolutely not. And I won't say anything bad about
Tyon,
North Dakota State.
Tyon offers some pass catching. He can move.
I can't say anything bad about North Dakota State. We know what happened with Dylan Radins and me a couple of years ago. So
Your boy Travis Dye.
I would be shocked if Travis died. I would be shocked if he ended up not making an NFL team. I think he's just a serviceable all around back. He'll find a place, especially as he'll contribute on special teams as well. Oh, I don't
Siraj,
like.
big boy.
Yeah, I don't like none of these for the role that I want them to play with the Colts.
Tyon Evans offers some pass catching ability. I don't know if it's enough for me to.
Yeah, nah, we can move off running backs. Okay, so do we want another receiver? Chat, what position? Ask the chat what position should we be
That's
targeting right
fair.
now?
Well, yeah, I say what position we. Darius Davis had a great combine,
Come on, chat.
but
Come on,
Darius
chat.
Davis, I'm pretty sure I could blow over if I wanted to.
Darius Davis is small, very small.
Longtime listener, Sarah Schmoll said receiver. And you know what? I respect Sarah's opinions. I want to go with
I
Sarah here.
respect Sarah too.
So we're gonna double up
I
at
was trying to
receiver.
leave Jalen Wayne in play.
Well, I mean, we're still here. Jalen
I know.
Wayne's down here. Matt Landers has that size and speed
Mhm.
combination. I saw a comment from here from Stats Matt. I think Wayne is an undrafted free agent before the draft is officially over. I mean, I
Yeah.
could see it. The thing
Mhm.
with Wayne on day 3, it's always hard to project who's going to go undrafted because he's a guy who, if you listen to when we got to have him on, really great guy.
Yeah.
He's only been playing football since his junior year of high school.
Insane.
Like he is a guy who has all the makings to get drafted because his route tree is just not fully defined yet.
Mhm.
He's a guy who really his athleticism and ability there was how he won reps. So the fact where you give him an NFL styled receiving coach, which happens to be his
His
cousin
uncle.
slash uncle,
Yeah.
his old cousin is as how he
Right.
called it. So you get that going for him. Like I think he's a guy who has the ability to get there.
Hmm. I agree. I wouldn't be mad at Jalen Wayne at all. But like you said, he's a guy that knows he'll have a camp invite multiple places. He would be what you call a priority undrafted free agent, and
Matt
a lot of
Landers
teams are targeting
at Matt Landers at 6'4" with that speed seems like a Chris Ballard day 3 receiver.
him. Matt Landis is almost 24 years old, but I'm not
That
mad
is
at the
true.
pick. I'm not mad at the pick.
There's also the Elijah
This is
Higgins for people, but some people think he's going to be a tight end at the next level.
Yeah, he's a big boy. We saw him at the Senior Bowl as well. I know there's a lot of Ronnie Bell lovers. Not mad at that, but Darius Davis gives you that home run threat, but he's not much. He's not too developed as a pure wide receiver. I don't know, man.
If we were double dipping at quarterback,
I was
we're
just
still
thinking
there.
that. I mean, we did take Anthony Richardson.
Oh man, Antonio Mafi. I think
Uh,
I want to double dip at guard.
I wouldn't be mad at that. No, I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Oh yeah, Antonio Mafi is a guy who has had a top 30 visit with the Colts already.
Yeah,
He's a
let's
guy who I doubt is here in the 6th round when it comes
no.
time. But he's a guy that if you can get him as a developmental guard, just to kind of be able to offer some flexibility on the line, Antonio Mafi is a nice day 3 alignment to add.
Yeah, I like that pick.
And we are at our last pick here. I'm gonna just look through.
Hmm. Hmm.
Michael
Interesting.
Jefferson's a fun one as well.
Did you see what just came out about him? He's out for the season next year.
I did not see that.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
saw it
Jacob Copeland.
earlier today. I hope it's out. I hope I'm not saying something I'm not supposed to. I know he got in a car accident, and I think he's out for the
I think I think
entire.
I think I do remember that now.
Yeah,
Now Grant DuBois is one of my favorite day 3 receivers in this class. This kid cracked
I
my
don't think
top
I've
20
watched. I don't think
receivers.
I've watched him.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
fun. He's fun. Had a little bit more drops than you're gonna want, as you can see here.
I see that.
He's not as much of
What kind of wide receiver is he?
so he wasn't used as the deep ball guy there, which is what I think some people would look at and why he couldn't be here. He was used in the screen, a lot of yard after catch guy, like a guy who would take the small play, turn it into something
Mhm.
bigger, but is a guy who's 6'2". So having that ability
Okay.
at 6'2", out of Charlotte, like he's a guy who has a really fun tape.
Hmm.
We just talked a little bit about Jalen Wayne, related to Reggie Wayne, has a really solid athleticism build. Just is going to need to get tuned when it comes to that actual route tree at the next level. We can go Justin Shorter and grab a third Florida Gator, but I think he's a tight end at the next level as well, slash special teamer.
Is somebody trying to trade with us? I see we have a trade notification.
In the 7th round, Kansas City, what do you want? I wish PFF like actually did actual offers instead. Like it just shows you who's interested
Yeah.
in the pick.
No,
I
we
think
don't
I
want your.
refuse.
We don't want 249 and 250
Yeah, I feel
for
like I refuse
236.
to trade a 7th round pick. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, let's go with what running backs are there? We didn't take a running back yet, right?
Yeah, you're right.
I think you have to take a running back.
I mean, Mohammed is a super productive running back. Is just not at all a pass catching back.
At
He
all.
offers zero. Tyon Evans offers upside there slightly. Travis Dye has a little bit of ability.
Yeah. Cameron Peoples, he was a fun watch for Appalachian State. No
Anytime,
receiving
anytime you,
ability at
I
all.
would say, anytime you throw on Appalachian State, you're gonna have fun.
Yeah. So what about Tavion Thomas?
I like Tavion Thomas.
I like him too. I think he's a good back. Yards per route run. Yuck. Let's talk through this. This is not good in this area.
I mean,
Destin wants to take a fullback really bad.
I mean, look, yards per route run. Dude's
Who
blowing these boys out the water.
who's the best player available?
Probably
Period.
Hunter.
Just period. Overall.
Probably fullback time.
It's not fullback time. Okay.
Dorian Thomas Robinson, Stinson Bennett, Troy
I would
Brown.
I would be well, Troy Brown's an interesting option.
We went coverage earlier. Troy Brown is a see
It's not
ball,
that.
get ball linebacker.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah,
that at all. I would be down for DTR, especially with Anthony Richardson as your new starter. But
you're telling me Nick Foles isn't the carbon copy of Anthony Richardson to back him up?
Nick Foles should be getting cut any minute now. Any minute now. Dead man walking. Weekend at Bernie's. I like Malik Cunningham.
Cameron Brown is not bad. We were taking 2 corners, so to take 3 would be overkill. But as a 7th round guy, I mean, he's not. Oh, can we?
I'm
Double
not
up?
mad at
Can we
Aubrey
double?
Miller.
Can we double
I'm
up
not
at
mad.
coverage
I'm
linebacker?
absolutely look at
Aubrey.
his rate.
No. I'm telling you, Aubrey Miller. I mean, he was at Jackson State.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's
Level of competition.
take what I'm about to say in that light. Aubrey Miller may have had the best coverage tape of any linebacker in this class.
He's really good. Let's take Aubrey Miller. I'm that high on him.
I did too. I had Aubrey Miller in one of my recent Colts 7th-round draft mocks just because of his coverage ability on day 3. Now, like, people are going to keep questioning the Jackson State element of it, but like, he's a dude that just has it. Like, he just is that dude. So let's see what. See, this would have been an A if we took Marvin Mims. I blame all of you, by the way. Everyone.
Marvin Mims fell to pick 105.
And that whoever got him got an A in the draft. Now, I did tell you earlier that KJ Henry was going to be an A.
Look at those A's, man.
Man, we okay. Aubrey Miller is a C+ on the 7th round. That's disrespectful.
That is disrespectful. Obviously,
But
they didn't watch Jackson State.
If you joined us late, let's just run through this entire mock again.
Mm-hmm.
At round 1, first pick at number 4, quarterback of the future, Anthony Richardson out of Florida. Look at that A+. Okay, PFF. Being
Anthony,
a big AR fan.
Yeah.
Now, Osiris getting an A+ at 36. I mean, at 48 when we actually got him.
That's why it's an
ridiculous.
A+. That's an A+. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We deserve that.
We got a B on our trade with the Lions. We got a 2nd and a 3rd to move back 13 spots. We went Tyler Scott over Marvin Mims after I got outvoted by the entire chat of Colts Nation and Rashad. But Tyler Scott, past relationship with Brian Martin, the new special teams coordinator for the Colts, and a guy that the Colts have a lot of interest in. Jalen Jones, we may have taken him a little higher than he may go, if we're being honest with everybody here. This is probably the one spot where I think we reached on somebody in this draft. But
we panicked.
Size and fit with the Colts, you had to. And Darius Rush went 2 picks before us, so don't yell at me.
And that was the plan. Darius Rush was the plan.
Darius Rush was always the plan because Darius Rush is a stud. Love this Dorian Williams pick. I think this is one of my favorite picks of the entire draft, to be honest, to get him in the 4th.
KJ Henry was a pick we had to make. We were forced to pick KJ Henry.
Yeah, the rest of the NFL twisted our arm and made us draft a 2nd-round edge rusher in the 5th. Starling Thomas got an A in round 5. Come on.
Wow.
PFF is on this thing. They really liked our last 5th and 7th rounder. And now, like I said earlier, Antonio Mafi in the 7th round. That was great value.
Keandre Colburn as in the 5th is crazy too. Like, that's crazy good value.
And then PFF just hating on Aubrey Miller out of nowhere.
We got an A grade though overall.
So. We got an A grade overall. So PFF, they ain't messing with us too much.
Right. They rocking with our draft.
If we were left with that draft, I mean, first of all, if we ended with Anthony Richardson and Osiris in the first 2 rounds, I say, I don't think there's any way, shape, or form that I'm going to be upset no matter how it ends.
Absolutely.
I'm not in love with how corner fell to us. That is a corner guy that hurt in a very deep class. I feel like a lot of guys went before we could get him.
I'm getting on the phone with a lot of free agents after this.
Oh, yeah. Shaquille Griffin. What? Somebody has got to be joining this team.
This guy's funny, man. He's funny. You know what? On that note, Destin, just take us home, man. Just go
Hey,
ahead.
this has
Say
been another
goodbye to the people.
episode of Saddle Up. Make sure you guys give us a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel for all these little slip ups that you'll get here and there from the podcast. The draft is 8 days away. We have one more episode before the draft, Wednesday
Hmm.
before Thursday. So make sure you guys are here next week, as it'll be the last podcast you see before the draft. And just so you guys know as well, me and our colleague Drake are going to be live during the first round. A little birdie told me that we may see Rashad make a guest appearance as well, depending on how
Bust
everything
this, bust this,
falls.
bust this.
But we're going to be live throughout the first round, breaking down the picks. So make sure you guys are there with us next Thursday. Because I mean, who wants to watch the ESPN crew, right? You want to watch us. You want to watch
Yeah.
the Horseshoe Huddle crew breaking down every pick and just screaming like little girls when the quarterback selection's finally done.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna scream. You know, it may be live streamed. It may not be. So you guys tune in if you want to catch me at a vulnerable moment. I'm always most vulnerable at times during draft time. You know, we just put in this hard work and we see it all comes to fruition at that time. So make sure y'all check that out, man. It's gonna be dope show. Destin's gonna be leading the show. I'm gonna be packing because I literally closed on my new house that weekend.
Rashad
It's gonna be
Rashad
moving.
decided to move into a house the weekend of the draft. What a
Yeah. See these
noob, guys.
boxes?
This guy's
That's what these
new.
boxes are for.
I moved 2 years before this in preparation. All right, I knew what was up.
Destin still hasn't
I still haven't
put
unpacked
his
all of it,
man
man.
cave together yet. And
You
he's had
know,
it for 2 years now. So that tells you what kind of person Destin is.
lazy, lazy. But
Man,
really appreciate everybody coming out. We will be back next Wednesday, and make sure you guys are following myself and Rashad on socials, at Shaad McGinnis, at the Destin Adams on Twitter, and you'll be ready for all these articles that are coming your way and shows coming your way before the draft. Thanks, everybody. Peace.